A stage race with exhausting climbs and exciting sprint finishes, but above all, so many exhilarating successes and exceptional team members. This metaphor of cycling, the sport I love most, is the best one to summarize the growth of Mapei. A growth which continues because it is based precisely on the solid roots of the past and on values which are valid even today. If I look back, I can see Mapei and then Mapei again. I was born just a few years after the company was founded, and the story and growth of the company inevitably blends in with my own personal story and that of my family. And if I wish to associate a face with Mapei, this can be one person and one person only, my father Rodolfo, founder of the company. A man who had the gift of creativity and an extraordinarily open mind. I inherited from him my enormous love of cycling and the opera, and the conviction that there cannot be work without art. As a child, I would walk with him from our home in Via Imbriani in Milan towards the first headquarters of the company in Via Caffiero. And in those few hundred meters by my father's side, I started to cultivate my dream, to become a research chemist. The path opened by my father was clear and was founded on solid principles. The passion, the will to be the best through work, the belief that only through continuous product innovation is the growth of a company possible. Thanks to the intuition of my father, Rodolfo, Mapei began the first phase of internationalization by exporting products over the border, first into Switzerland and France, and later into the Americas, starting with Puerto Rico. A process of internationalization which had its first important turning point following the 1976 Montreal Olympic Games, where the Olympic athletics track was installed using our adhesives for the very first time. Experience in large sports arenas which has continued since then, so much so that the next Olympic Games in London will see Mapei playing a leading role yet again. We now have the largest share of the market in Canada, and this country acted as a launchpad to enter into the North American market, where in 1984 the first US production facility was opened in Phoenix, Arizona, and followed by another one in Chicago, Illinois in 1986. The end of the 1970s was characterized by the commissioning of the Mediglia facility on the outskirts of Milan. It was a particularly busy period of extra work for every single person employed in Mapei. After having worked right up to his final day, my father Rodolfo passed away suddenly on the 1st of November 1984 at the age of 76. It was a difficult time. Following the sudden loss of my father, I personally had to take on the full running of the company, helped by my family and by all the managers and workers who gave their support through such a difficult time. I followed the model outlined by my father and continued to implement the company's expansion into Europe with new production facilities in France and Austria. At the beginning of the 1990s, it was Asia's turn, with a new production facility in Singapore. In 1994, the acquisition of Vinaville, the sharing of corporate values with respect for family traditions, which considers the strength of the group its winning feature, witnessed another historical phase in the second half of the 1990s when my children joined the company. Marco, who grew up in research and development until he took full responsibility for all group research activities, and Veronica, responsible for global development, M&A operations and new startups. And today, alongside my children, there are also the managers of the company committed to the growth of Mapei, those of the various areas where the company operates, and a central group of 50 people who manage all the activities of the group. This is the hardcore group, on the road all year round, committed to making sure that the various subsidiaries implement the operating philosophy of the mother company. It is only thanks to the work of all the people working at Mapei that today the group can carry on following its path with determination to achieve global leadership in chemical products for building. Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. This was one of Albert Einstein's sayings, a symbol of the growth of thought, but I would like to second it. As team captain, you must never stop pedaling.